and helpfully, I mean, we all know how helpful the Windows 10 Cortana thing is for finding settings, right? And how it always works all the time and never breaks. Sorry, this sounds extra salty, doesn't it? Okay. I've put my microphone in such a stupid place, god damn it. I'm raging. Off the feet, wow. Past tense, defeated. My mic's on as well? God damn it. Well, hey everyone. Welcome to Scrap being ragey and depressed. Hi. I'm gonna mute my mic now. Have fun. Shit. Well, hi everyone, and welcome to Rise of the Wardens. Please ignore that intruder earlier who was chatting over the intro music there. Like nothing to see there. Don't worry about that. But instead, you should look at these opening messages, where the bot will be spamming all of our links, including the places you can find us, interact with us and our community, and support us. Should you wish to. It also has information about our sponsors, Bird and the Storm Publishing and Mage Hand Press, whom we're very grateful to because they're both. You get the picture. Also check out the sorry,
last game of the week, everyone.
last game of the week, only game of the day. It's been a week. Okay, last thing is the tweet. Check out the tweet, because the tweet, if you retweet the tweet, then your friends will know that you're watching, and the tweet will go tweet, and everyone will be tweeting, and Twitter tweets off, and yeah. Let's go around and say hello to everyone. Alice, it's your stream. Hi.
Oh hi, I'm Alice. I'm also White Rubber Pick on Twitter. You can check out my links, my photography, and I DM for this channel, as well as being a player this season, which I'm super excited about. Otherwise, let's hop around and say hello to everyone, and we will start with the very lovely Julie. Oh hi.
Hello, I am Julie. I go by J Graveart online. Here I play Kahal, who is a very tired elf man.
Mood.
That's it. He's good with weapons. He's good at doing things.
Good at pointing the pointy end into the other.
Yes.
And oh hi, for the first week of Dragon Age, Avery, you're back. Oh hi.
I can finally join. My time has finally come. I'm Avery. I'm Matt Bat. I almost said I play Matt Bat, and I'm like, no. Well, I mean, I guess, but not for this game.
Game of life.
Yeah, I'm Matt Bat Online. I'm an artist. I'm here, and I'm also on Tales from the Grim. And I'm playing Cecilia Amladaris, who is a human mage. And we'll find out exactly where she's from quite soon.
Perfect, thank you. Then we're going to hop around to say hi to the very lovely Madam Gandalf or Alice. Oh, hi.
Oh, hi. It's lovely to be back once again to bring a little bit of more elven magic to this game, because, you know, what do we clearly not have enough of in this game is elves and magic. But so... Hey, I play, my name is Madam Gandalf. I play Ariava Surana, the kind of clumsy yet trying to prove herself. She's trying to prove herself so hard. She really tries so hard. But life and everything seems to just kind of keep getting in her way. So she's hoping that maybe now that this whole bout of freedom, of finally getting to actually see the world from fresh eyes, will give her a new perspective on everything.
It's going great so far. And last but certainly not least, Scrap.
Dylan Ezekrian. I will be playing the rogue smuggler person with a big ship, with a big ramming end. Notable achievements, I rammed an ogre. It was great fun. And I got stunt points for it.
I cannot believe the bloody stunt points. It's ridiculous.
Well, I mean, I thought it was worth a punt.
I take it back. I'm not actually good in the campaign. I'm leaving right now.
That was the correct response, everyone. Just silence.
Silence, yep.
Stress again, last game of the week.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Kamadas, for that sub. You can gift an advantage to a player of your choice. Kyle, thank you. And also, Durs Black gifts an advantage to the first person who needs it. So the first advantage we spend will be free.
Sweet.
Can I kick off now? Can I go? This is good.
Yes.
Okay, so last time we saw two very different scenes. We saw Dylan and Kahal on an island north of Tevinter, where there were mist walkers and mist dancers, and they came into contact with a warden and their dwarven companion. but also they're griffins, mythical creatures that we thought had probably didn't even exist anymore. And there was a call to aid in the Anderfells as this blight has started to ravage the land. And also back over in Ferelden, this lovely elf who is for the first time decided to go out into the real world, went to their tavern, got their ale, got their food, and of course it was attacked by the blight. We also met another warden and another series of griffins, and we're going to start with Dylan and Kahal as you have arrived in the Anderfells. You have followed the directions of the Grey Warden. Your boat has been sort of moored up at the Tallow River north of Wysap. And as you approach Wysap, you see this huge towering fortress, something sort of in the southern Anderfells at the edge of the desert, over the Broken Tooth, almost like a cliff face, sort of dropping down into these toxic wastelands. And it's huge. It's got a very jagged, sort of almost very intense, dramatic looking skyline over this deserted wasteland. There are a few creatures here and there, but otherwise the only life here is at Wysap, where there are wardens. Not many, but this seems to be their headquarters. And as you walk in through these huge main gates, you can see how heavily guarded it is, but you can also see how vulnerable the people in this fortress are. There are just everyday people here. There are merchants, there are families, there are children. As you can see, most of these people look to have fled here for safety. You see men and women in armor, not really under any banners anymore. And there are elves, there are dwarves, and there are humans all sort of mixing together. There doesn't seem to be any form of real status here. Everyone here has faced the blight and had to come together. And Dylan and Kahal, you walk through these huge gates. You see these 4 or 5 huge towers with very jagged, sort of almost like spikes coming off of the side. This huge fortress and these battlements where you can see people patrolling. You can see archers all along the top. 2 main towers at the front looking over in 2 completely different directions, keeping watch. How do you approach in?
I'm honestly just taking it all in, because this is one of the largest structures I've ever witnessed, and also very, very, very different climate than I'm used to. In fact, at this point, over the course of the voyage, he's gotten rid of this helm finally, because it was just hot. And yeah, so Dylan has actually seen his face now, which has sort of this very light Valisthane, and which marks him as Dalish at some point. And yeah, just kind of ratty blondish hair that he doesn't really care about. It's just kind of tied up in some scrappy bun sort of thing, but just looking around and just looks where Dylan is. Well,
Dylan is enjoying a quick smoke because he knows once he goes in there. What is our scam? What are we gonna tell people when we go in?
does it need to be a scam?
Oh, it's a scam. What are we going to use to front? I mean, We can't say, hello, I'm Dylan Zikri and I smuggle things all over the place. Hey, can I be in your army? That's not how it works.
Well, maybe you need a scam.
You killed 2 guards before we came here. I mean, I'm willing to let everyone know if you're willing to let everyone know, but killing 2 guards and then setting a city on fire, just saying, you might want to scam.
Don't think it much matters now, to be honest. What with the war on?
Maybe, maybe not. First impressions are important though, no?
I guess.
Merchants and mercenary? All the merc words.
Hmm.
And we trade mercury.
If you say so. Worked before, so.
Yeah, it'll work. I probably have things that are useful to them as well. I imagine in this supply somewhere, there's got to be some good stuff, like, you know, some valuable ores which aren't supposed to be around, or maybe some herbs which he's not supposed to have. And I'm desperately thinking back to the Inquisition epic item things that you can unlock, but I can't think of any off the top of my head right now, but like...
Banana on a stick is definitely a legendary weapon.
We'll offer them our resources and see how we can help out, I suppose.
You know, you're going to have to leave your boat.
Worse, they're probably going to want to use it, and that means they'll take off all the gilding and make it ugly with armor.
If it means she survives, then perhaps worth it.
Perhaps. I still have a feeling I'll need to find a new boat.
Eventually. If that is, we even survive this, which... who knows?
You giving up already, Kahal? I intend on surviving this.
Not giving up yet. It's just inevitable.
Personally, I disagree. There must be ways to avoid that sort of thing. Seems awfully gruesome.
Rather be my own choice, at least.
I suppose me too, but I would never choose to go, so... moot point? This is very morbid. Why don't we go and speak to the guards? Maybe they're more cheerful. They've been guarding a gate all day. I'm sure that's cheerful work.
Hmm.
And as you are approaching through these gates, you can see how huge these individual archways are in the first, what seems to be this courtyard. And it looks very, very grand, despite what it is now being used for. You see these archways almost create like a tunnel all the way around the edge of this courtyard. You see barrels and crates piled up. You see people with surprisingly a few, like, what little livestock there is. You can see some of it put over in a pen. You can see Mabari in another pen over in the distance that sort of they seem to be, whether they're being trained, but they're currently sort of jumping about excitedly, where all of the guards seem to be sort of crowding around. Again, there's families. There are merchants that are setting up in the best way they can, though there doesn't seem to be much trade actually going on. And here and there, you can see every now and then that flash of silver and blue as these heroes, these wardens, sort of walk amongst the people. Some of them look to be vaguely trying to organize something and checking on people. You can see, well, more than anything, you can hear and smell a smithy. You can smell that fire. You can hear that clang of the hammer on the anvil. You can see, again, you sort of look up the stairs to another level, and you hear almost like some cheer from what looks to be a makeshift tavern, which is absolutely just a bunch of crates with some barrels perched on top and a mix match of chairs and benches and crates themselves that people are perching themselves on. There is the smell of a cooking pot somewhere. And you recognize one of the wardens as they sort of seem to be talking with one of the guards, dismissing them as he sees you, Ronan, from the island. And his dwarven friend doesn't seem to be anywhere in sight, but he spots you and hails you and starts to make his way towards you over this cobbled thing, and you can hear the clank of the metal as he walks over towards you. My friends, you did come. Is the desert not to your liking, Ezekiel?
No, I'm so pleased to be here. How are you?
I mean, and he sort of looks you up and down with that really sort of difficult smile that you wear on your face. I have been better. I'm currently waiting for my scouts to return, but it is good to see both of you. Do you have a certain purpose on being here? Did you wish to join our forces?
Not particularly. If I am very honest, I would like to come here to make money. I have a ship, I am a merchant, I am good at smuggling things, let's be forthright. No covers, right, Kahal? So, I'm good at getting things in and out. I do not want to join your forces. Use me some other way.
I'm afraid there will not be much trade here. And, we're in a desert. I'm afraid your boat may not necessarily be as useful as once before. But you are very welcome to join us. I'm sure we can find some use for your skills. The world is becoming a war zone, my friend.
Has anyone checked to see if these creatures just like drinking? Maybe that calms them right down.
It would take a lot of ale for an army the size we have seen. But please, follow me. Follow me and I will get you an ale. Think of it as a welcome. And he turns and starts to walk up the steps.
Well, at least we got an ale. I was expecting, honestly, someone to snatch my hat away and shave my head. That's what they do in armies, right?
These ones ask, at least.
And as he walks up the steps, he's like, you may find yourself in a battle whether you like it or not. It's always best to be prepared. And he looks around at this fortress. Tell me, did you travel safe from the island where I last met you?
Yes.
You look uncomfortable.
The walls make you feel safe. They make me feel trapped. The ocean, that's the best place to be. Do they have boats? Do they do sea combat?
We have seen a few boats, but nothing of any mass. But you cannot stay at sea forever. At some point you must land. Even if just to restock supplies, you will always have to face what is on land.
a hard truth.
But please. And you can see as he approaches this very, very makeshift bar tavern, these beers are already being poured for him in these tankers as he hands them to both of you and takes one for himself. It doesn't seem to be as full as both of yours, but he does look to both of you. You're both skilled in what you do. I have seen this. And you both seemed very surprised at the sight of Leto, my griffin, when we last met. Have you not seen one before?
Not in person. Only stories.
And he smiles a little bit at that. Would you like to see some more?
I would.
I mean, you know, it's a much better boat.
Come
I'll come
on,
along.
open air.
I stress again, friend, we are in the desert.
Must be like the desert's like a sea, isn't it?
Did your boat bring you here?
In a manner of speaking.
And he sort of chuckles and starts walking through this sort of secondary courtyard over to these, I guess it's like a pen. It's more that there's a wooden fence around this huge part where it sort of goes underneath some of the archway, so there's shelter as well. This fence isn't here to keep these creatures in. It's more to keep other people from wandering in. And you walk over and you see saddled up about 12 to 15 griffins, each one just slightly different, some speckled, some mottled grey, some black, some white, some grey, all sort of mixed together, this sort of flourish of feathers, these huge sort of lamb-like bodies and these beaks. And as you approach, you see one of them rear up and flap its wings as it sort of, you feel that gust hit your face with this hot air from the desert. And this young elf sort of puts his hands up as it sort of helps it lower it back down as it seems startled by some of the children that have run past, sort of squealing with delight seeing these things. And Ronan gestures, he goes, see, they are real.
Do they... You called them partners, but do they ask to join you?
They are partners of the Wardens. And again, you sort of feel him he touches his breastplate where that griffin symbol sits. And he says, we're not too sure, but there is a link between us. Almost imprinting on each other. It's not a... It's a partnership. It's not having a horse or a steed, or it's a partner.
It's good to hear. I'd hate to see such remarkable creatures. Well, held unwillingly.
There is no way you can hold a griffin. If it doesn't want to be here, it won't be. Some say it's part of the magic, but I'm no mage. Yet here I am.
Can you speak to them? Can you hold a conversation?
I don't hold a conversation with any griffin, though there is an understanding between Leto and I, and he steps forward, and you see again that huge grey griffin that you saw once before, and he sort of reaches out his hand over this fence, and it trudges towards him and immediately puts its head in his own hand and sort of just sits there. And it's not a chirp and it's not a growl, but there's like a rumble almost in the throat of this creature as he reaches out, and he doesn't hold its face. If anything, it leans into his hand, and this thing is huge. And he smiles sort of up at it fairly lovingly. As I said, it is a partnership. We're not bound to each other. There are younger griffins. The Leto is now at least 2-3 years old, fully grown.
I hope you consider yourself lucky then.
I do. I do very much so. There are not many left. Sadly.
Why?
We don't know. We know they used to be hunted, but for the last few years they have literally been in decline and disappearing. Some of them say they've flown beyond the far oceans, never to come back.
I get what you're saying. You want me to go and find more griffins beyond the far oceans. Well, if that's the fate you have laid out for me, I will humbly accept.
I mean, by all means, friend, hop in your boat and travel to the edges. Find griffins. But you will not be able to bring them back unless they want to.
Yeah. So, there are other griffins, not just Leto?
Of course, and he sort of gestures and you see all of these griffins. You can also see a few, looks to be like 2 very small ones in the back. Couldn't even be a year old, if anything, as they seem to almost be play fighting with each other at the back and getting scolded by one of the larger griffins, sort of almost break it, just sort of like poof, like cross knocking them over as they do. And it's almost like a massive wings and heavy large paws when the paws are too big for the sweet little things, and their wings are not quite fully feathered yet. You can see a lot of fluff there, as you can see they probably don't know how to fly as they sort of hover every now and then and sort of fall over themselves. But he gestures to these 15-16 griffins, the larger ones that stand tall. You can see some of them have saddles, some of them do not. You can see Leto and one of the others, they seem actually to have almost like an armor around their neck and up behind the back, not over their face, but up the back of their head as well. You can probably guess that they're the ones that go out and scout more than anything. And there is like a screech coming from up above in the air as you see 3 more circle above and start to come into landing. And Ariava, you see this huge fortress below you as you are sat on the back of this griffin with like your arms holding tight, holding on to that that one little strap you were told to hold on to by Tarkum Ra, this Grey Warden that you met in Ferelden after this absolute panic of attack on the Blight. And you feel that sort of that lurch and that dip in your stomach as this griffin decides after circling it is just going to dive. And you can just hear, hold on, as the Grey One themselves sort of clamps one of their hands onto the back of your robes as you dive. And you can see the paws of this creature running through the air before that jerking sort of like oof as you land, running through this courtyard. Two more sort of land behind you from the same group. As you land in the courtyard of this huge fortress at Weissap, almost skidding to a halt in front of this small group, these two elves, one dressed very much like a wealthy merchant, one a huge sword strapped to their back, and another Grey Warden, each with an ale in their hand. And you see this warden sort of protect his ale as this dust cloud sort of kicks up as this creature comes to a skidding halt, and you feel yourself lurch. Like, this is not a soft landing at all.
Oh yeah, as they come in for the landing, and Ariava is holding onto the back of, like you said, she's like riding on the back of like with a Grey Warden in front.
Yeah.
So she's holding on to this Grey Warden, almost looking like her hair is wind blown wild now. It was already wild in the first place, but now it's got the wind blown all through it, so it's just sticking up in all sorts of angles. She's holding on to this Grey Warden so tight as they come to this like gradual like final stop. She has a moment. She's like staring at the ground, breathing like kind of rapidly, before you just see this smile like crack out on her face of like, is it like that every time? Every time you just do this. This is just something that you do. You just get on this thing, you fly, you leave, you escape everything. You just go across mountains and hills and valleys and waters and rivers and
This Grey Warden, this woman laughs. She's like, I mean, we do other things too.
But tell me that you can like major in this or something. Like, this has to be something that I can focus in.
I mean, it is a big part of the job, if that's what you're asking. As she sort of like slides off, like sort of peels your hands off of her waist and slides off, and then offers you a hand down as she stands much taller than you, sort of like helping you slide off. This griffin sort of almost, you feel that sort of rock as the griffin just plonks itself down and sits.
Oh yeah, she did not have the Grey Warden's help. She would have fallen off.
Yeah.
Get off, that's for sure.
You see the other Grey Wardens come into land with this Mabari going absolutely crazy at the side, and the person you met in Ferelden who was injured is already being rushed off to what looks to be, again, a makeshift infirmary you can see over on the other side of this fortress. And Taka, this Grey Warden, looks to you. Welcome to Weissap. And yes, as you say, I guess you can major in this as a Grey Warden.
Huh. Okay. So far, this is definitely in the lead. That like whole killing, deady looking things, not so much my kind of thing. But this I could get used to. So, what else you got to show me? What other Grey Warden-y things can I learn to do to be of service?
And again, there's like that real, very like chesty laugh that comes from her. And she looks like she's about to say something else, but you hear this other Grey Warden, Ronan, yell her name, and they sort of walk towards each other, and you hear that clank of metal as they embrace very solidly, and she stands almost the same height as this other Grey Warden, this man, and you can see two more elves. How have Dylan and Kahal reacted to this sort of landing? Because there was a real kick up of dust, but
I did the same thing with the ale. I definitely put up here. But yeah, just stood very solidly, like didn't like back off from this wind at all. Just like honestly enjoyed it because it's hot.
Mm-hmm.
This like big old gust was mildly refreshing. But he's just hanging back.
Strong breeze, you say? Sounds like a time to strike a pose.
Please.
I'll stand just so that my coattails catch up in the breeze.
And you do see this elf, this young elf, very excitedly near this griffin and these Grey Wardens, sort of asking all these questions, looking backwards and forth, and step off this griffin almost completely in front of you as you see Ronan go to meet the other.
Very exciting. Didn't realize you could ride them. I mean, well, I realized you could ride them, but I didn't realize it just gave, like, hey, a new way of like trading things, Forget transport ships, transport griffins. Wonder how quick I can get from Tevinter to the other place, which I forgot the name of right now.
Many places in this wide world.
Such a good merchant.
Ferelden, that's the place. I knew the name really. It just took me a minute,
I imagine quite a bit faster than by ship.
Maybe there's a new trade when we survive this, Kahal.
Or Swen.
Hello. We are also not Grey Wardens.
And I guess seeing that there's somebody kind of waving at her with friendly gestures in a complete area where she knows no one, she gets up and starts walking over towards Dylan and Kahal. I mean, if anybody wearing a big feathered hat starts waving at you like with enthusiasm, you have to go and see what on earth is going on, right? Curiosity just would have killed this cat easily. So yeah, she wanders on over with kind of a like, really me? Am I about to go over and embarrass myself? I'm totally about to go and embarrass myself. If I go over there and it's not me that they were signaling over, I'll just ask if they need some clothes cleaned. They'll believe that I'm an elf. They'll believe that. They're elves. Okay. Hi. You were gesticulating?
Gesticulating, I like that word. Yes, you do not seem like a Grey Warden, so I thought, hey, you're not a Grey Warden, I'm not a Grey Warden. Let's all band together and be merchants or something else. Oh.
Well, I was looking at becoming a Grey Warden.
Okay, condolences. Don't look at me like that, Kahal. Kahal is my somber but loyal friend.
Hi, condolences?
Not big about the death part.
There's a death part.
Well, you realize that there is
It
a...
comes with life.
Well, yes, that's true. But you realize there is a blight right now. And,
Right, but that's what they meant by the death part, right? Is that the blight is here, the, like, things are coming out, and we need to go and, like, and knock them away.
I mean, at this point, it's all theory, right? I thought it was all poppycock until, like, literally yesterday or last week.
Okay. Well, hopefully that's the death part that you mean.
I hope
No
so.
other death part, right? Yeah. No.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, do you know anything about the Grey? I don't know anything about the Grey Warden. I know lots about the sea, but here I am in the desert.
Seems you're in the best place to learn about Grey Wardens. Should you
Seems
wish.
like it.
Terrible idea.
Realizing
You
that.
know what? I think we could all use food, drink, food, drink.
Plenty of drink.
I could
They-
eat, I guess.
They're going to have a meeting of sorts, so
From what I've heard, the Grey Wardens seem to have insatiable appetites. So lots of food on hand here.
And you can see actually a few Grey Wardens that seem to be. You notice a fair few of them are by this makeshift tavern. You can also see a huge cooking pot, and there's a very broad Grey Warden who seems to be hovering. A very tall, very broad, very bearded Grey Warden who is helping himself out of the pot. And you can see sort of handing it out to other people, but his nose is twitching, he is licking his lips as he's waiting to fill his own bowl. And Taka and Ronan seem to be discussing what happened in Ferelden, what has been seen, and also what has been seen into Winter and the rise of this blight. And Ronan turns to you. I overheard food and drink. I think is probably the best. We may need to talk to you all later, but now rest, eat, drink, try and be merry as you can in this time. But any sort of gestures in the direction of the food, this fire where some people have sat round, it doesn't seem to be too busy as it's still very much daylight. This is more like a cooking area. But he sort of gestures, and then you can see that Taka sort of smiles at Ariava and sort of gives you a bit of a wink and starts to walk off in the direction with Ronan.
Anyone else want to know what they're talking about? I want to know what they're talking about.
let's be informed.
I could, you know, sometimes I smuggle goods, sometimes I smuggle information. I could go and have a little listen.
Well, you are a man of talents.
As are you. Mine are just a little more subtle than yours.
Hmm.
As we demonstrated on the pier. Ariava, Kahal is very talented with that sword of his.
I do
Sword,
always
axe.
appreciate the man who's good with a sword.
It seems to be in demand. I'm walking away.
At that point, you see kind of Ariel had this moment of like, nice, good comeback, nice. Nice. Nice.
Yeah. I'll meet you
Nice.
guys at the mess tent. I'm gonna go. Nice. Yeah. I will
Nice.
I will follow Ronan and Taka in a sneaky way. I want to go and eavesdrop.
Okay.
I want to go and drop some eaves.
I have no eaves.
We're going to hop over to Cecilia. And Cecilia, where would you be? What would you be doing at this fortress? And what do you look like? And what are you wearing?
Alrighty. I think she's currently in a room that's away from everyone else at the moment. It's like a single, like a study kind of room. And she's away for the piece of being able to concentrate on her work. She's currently hunched over a book, like writing down notes. And she has like a lot of equipment in front of her. And two, because her appearance, she is very much in the Grey Warden armor, However, along with the blue and silver of the Grey Warden armor, there is also a lot of black thrown in through it, as she is very unmistakably Tevinter in her attire. She is not hiding this fact. She is quite a tall woman. She stands at about 6 foot, and she has very long black hair that comes about that past her chest, and with 2 parts hanging down, the rest of it is tied up in this tight bun at the top of the head, which is adorned with a pin that features the Grey Warden's like griffin wings. And she's like her attire is just an amalgamation of the Grey Warden armor as well as classic Tevinter fashion. And right now she is kind of muttering to herself as she writes down notes, and one side has like equipment. She probably has some gloves on, and I think she might even have like a small vial of like darkspawn blood there as well. And no magic, save for some wisps to give her more light. But yeah, she's just taking down notes, trying to like mixing it with certain herbs, see what if there's any kind of reaction, seeing what. Yeah, being
you,
very cautious about it.
as you said, you're in this study and you're surrounded by all of these books, all of these just bits and bobs, whether you've brought them with you or whether they have been provided for you. And you seem to have been given this room purely for yourself. One, so no one can disturb you whilst you work. And you get the feeling Tevinters probably aren't that popular right now. And you have probably faced some form of scrutiny, but the Grey Wardens came to you for a reason. And there is a knock at this heavy door. And it is cool. It is much cooler in here. And it's actually such a relief from the heat of the desert outside. And there's that heavy knock at the door. And you hear that voice you know of one of the Warden commanders, Dasha Kesh, this Antivan. It's just, Miss Cecilia, can I come in?
She nods. She doesn't look up from her work. It's like, yes. Just close the door behind you, please.
Of course. And sort of walks in. And this warden and this woman is much shorter, probably than most of those who stand quite tall. She seems very slim, very nimble. You know that she is known for her agility more than anything. She gets things. You can see 2 very crude, sort of, but very elegant looking knives attached to either side. Sort of very, very quick and easy access. They are in no way decorative at all, but the blades themselves look nasty. 2 of them are very, very sleek, but you know that she hides one in her boot, which is absolutely a darkspawn one. And she comes in with a small wooden box and pushes it forward and opens it. And there's 3 or 4 more different vials of darkspawn blood. I got them for you. I figured, why not have some extra? I was going to kill them anyway.
Yeah, Cecilia gives us like a small smile and a nod, just like kind of picks them up and holds them up to the light. Just flicks a hand, and one of these wisps floats over, and she holds it up to it. Like, much appreciated. I do hope you're being careful when you're collecting these. I'm sure I don't need to tell you.
Of course I'm careful. Who's not careful?
She just kind of raises a brow a bit.
I was out scouting. I've been having to head down further south of the Anderfells. There are things moving. There are disturbances down by Norbottom. That creature, that winged, I don't want to call it dragon. I've seen dragons. They are beautiful creatures. This is not a beautiful creature, this archdemon. It is moving, and I fear they are coming closer. And I'm going to have to fight it at some point. And it's at the end of the day, it's one big creature. It still takes many blades, but it'll fall. It'll come down. Are you being treated well enough in here?
Well, it's hard to be mistreated when I'm the only one here, isn't it? She's setting up these vials and like a little like chemistry thing. Like I'm very appreciative of these quarters I've been given. Let's just say
it's not a problem. We have a few more in the infirmary that have become twisted. They have, in the contact of this poison, and sort of gestures towards the vials, they are no longer themselves. They become these creatures. They warp. Their skin fades to a grey and a black. But all we can do is make them comfortable, I feel. We're not too sure what it is, but they're calling it the taint.
fitting. These dark spawns seem to be more like a disease than an army.
This is why they're calling it the blight. And this grey warden hand sort of clasped behind their back starts to just not loop the table, but they're sort of looking around, they're looking at the bookcases and sort of picking things off now and then. You know they're not, this isn't their thing, they're almost fidgeting. We have had news from Tevinter. Minrathus has fallen.
Yeah, she just closes her eyes and there's a exhale breath through her nose. Can't say I wasn't expecting it.
No, but it doesn't mean I can't come in and give my condolences.
I appreciate it. It's Tevinter was a beautiful place as long as you didn't look too closely. And you were human.
I'm not saying anything. I'm an Antivan. And she smiles briefly, and you can see that the hair looks very, very neat. It's this long blonde hair which has been tied into 2 braids up around the top of the head just to keep out of the way. But you can see like that sort of that wisp of blonde hair that falls in front of a very sad set of eyes. These very blue, almost the color of the ocean. It's got that bluey green sort of color. Did you sort of awkwardly fiddling with stuff on the desk? Did you have family into Minrathos? Because we can send scouts. You have been a great help to us.
Oh, she just waves. No need. I am perfectly aware of what happened to my family.
And
just say we weren't particularly close.
Fair enough. My brother and I used to fight all the time, but who knows where he is now.
As did I and my own brother.
It's what siblings do. It's what siblings do. It's what we're best at. But they have your back in the end.
Not this time. He was, let's just say he was a bit of an epitome of everything that was wrong with Tevinter.
Well, but, I do not see that in you. You have come here and you have helped us. And I was also sent, not just the vials, I completely forgot. Ronan is going to kill me. So I was also supposed to say that we have had word from Ferelden that the blight has moved through there. And I know you have made your oath. And there are some new griffins waiting, if you so wish. On the body, I know people prefer dogs sometimes.
I would be honored. As you're saying this, she is writing down notes regarding the fact that the flight has moved through to Ferelden, and like if Dasha,
Yeah,
If she-
Dasha.
Dasha, yeah, if she looks over at this like journal is meticulous, and they're very neatly written out, like everything from formulas to like sketches of certain plants and labeled their properties, and like all these like pages of notes regarding the Darkspawn blood and the Darkspawn in general. And she says, "So I would be honored, but first, those in the infirmary, perhaps I could aid in easing their
course.
suffering."
Of course, I can take you down there very soon if you would wish to. We have also had, I saw some newcomers arrive. They do not look like the usual villagers, shall we say. For one of them arrived on Griffin back with Tucker. And you know
They
what
didn't fall
Tucker's
off.
like. No, but Tucker did have a pretty firm grip. I mean, they looked like they were having a whale of a time. You should have seen them try and get off the Griffin.
Well, a new recruit, perhaps.
Perhaps they seemed very eager. I don't know what their skills are, but I do know they came from Ferelden. You can hear it in their voice. You know, you
Well,
can
if
spot
they-
a Ferelden a mile off.
Just kind of nods sagely. It's like, like, well,
Anyway.
and she just closes this book. It's just like I'm close to something, but there's something missing. It can wait. The people who need my aid cannot. Let's make haste.
Please follow me. Perhaps we will find these new arrivals on the way and you may ask them questions, if that helps.
I'm any knowledge is good knowledge. I'm sure I can ask them something, and she'll open the door for Dasha.
And Dasha almost looks awkward that you've opened the door for her because she's used to being that person. And she's like, oh, thank you. And you know that she's very upright and very, she does her job. Nothing stops her from doing her job, but it doesn't mean she's not awkward. She's very agile, but doesn't stop her from being awkward socially rather than anything else.
Bless her. I love her.
She strolls through, and you're in one of those stone corridors. Still very cool, still in the shade, but it's almost like a huge balcony with these archways where you can look down into the courtyard, and it's almost like you're suddenly hit by that wave of heat and the chatter coming round. And as she has before, Dasha leads you down a set of stairs away from this courtyard to a stone room, which it looks to be as if it was maybe once like a mess hall somewhere to eat, but it has been cleared out with all of these these pallets sort of laid out almost equal distance apart. You can see a few other mages in there, some that you've met before, maybe not even know their names. It's almost in passing. None of these are Tevinters. You can see a few from Ferelden, you know, somewhere in Tevan. And you can see there's one almost as elaborately dressed as you, however not in a Grey Warden armor, as this Orlesian mage stands at the very back of the room, almost like making notes. They seem to have an extensive amount of notes. And Dasha walks you through this, and this is the section where those that have been touched by the taint go. Keep the ones with the sort of general sickness or any sort of injuries are kept far, far away from these people. And Dasha, arm still behind her back, nods to some of these people, and they look awful. You can see some of their veins have gone black as it creeps up. This taint creeps up. Some of them, their eyes are starting to turn white as they sort of shout, and they're not making much sense. And there is one dwarf which seems to have been, they're being covered over. And you can see sort of almost like you'd say it was blood, but it's black. It's too thick as it runs from their ears and nose as they are covered up, and you see it last minute. We have not heard from Orzammar in too long. This was, I believe, supposed to be a messenger, but we had no information from them. They were incoherent before they even arrived.
Do you have anything on him? Notes? Something written?
We have the seal of some of the houses, but it's almost illegible. We're not too sure exactly what it is. But he was dressed for war. And dwarves do not leave the rock and the earth lightly, if at all.
Actually, just nodding and taking all this in. It's like, if I could see those letters at some point, perhaps maybe we can decipher something.
I will
Anything.
send them up to you. I will send them.
And she's gonna go forward and just, I think she has like a satchel on her, and she's got this like medical equipment that isn't inherently magical as well. And just who looks the worst that isn't like dead.
You can see what looks to be a human at the far end. You can see the Orlesian mage actually gives you a fairly friendly nod. There's no smile there, but it's a look of respect as she stands and walks away from this pallet, as this young man, again a Ferelden, sort of dressed, it looks to be as if he was just a merchant or maybe even a farmer. He is not in any form of armor. He's not broad enough for battle. You can see work arms and you see how rough his hands were from labor, but this is a young man, probably no older than 19 or 18 years old. And you can see a feverish sweat dripping down him. You can see the beginnings of the veins turning black, but only in his hands as it creeps up his arms.
She's gonna kneel next to this man, and you can tell she looks very somber as she does this, especially considering the youth of this individual. And this like this green magic, not sickly at all, it's like almost like verdant green magic kind of comes forth in her hands, and she just kind of leans over this man, just like, can you hear me?
As you say that, he doesn't reach out to grab you. You can see him grabbing the side of the pallets, but his head does snap towards you. He doesn't say anything, but there's like almost like a slow nod. You can see in his eyes he can see you, but you can see them slowly starting to creep him white at the edges.
You don't have to speak. Did you have family? Anyone I could pass your regards on to?
And there is almost like a very stuttery sort of shake of the head, and Dasha sort of leans in and is like, he was one of the few that escaped one of the villages. He was with no one.
Yeah, Cecilia just nods, and she'll just... Does he have any like religious iconography, anything that would help lead them?
You can't see any religious sort of symbols on him at all. You can see him clutching in his hand what looks to be almost like an amulet or something, but you can see it's like of a family thing. This isn't like a, it seems to be, maybe you can guess maybe it was from a lord or something,
Yeah.
but it's going to be a much lower house. It's nothing too recognizable or anything like that.
Yeah, she just sees this and it's like, well, I'll be with them soon. Rest now. And she's gonna pull her hand over this man's face, and it's like just almost, this isn't what like kills him, I guess, but it just sends him to sleep into like a set of set of ease, I guess. I don't actually have any like mechanically any spells, but I'm sure I can do something with just some flavor.
As can you roll me a perception check,
Perception?
please? Yeah.
Sure thing. Perception.
Whatever it's
Oh,
called.
goodness.
I've only got.
I have an ability in empathy, if that helps.
Actually, yeah, no, that would be pretty good as well.
Oh, sweet. So it's 3, 6 plus 3, because it's plus 2 for the focus.
Mhm.
Yeah. Alrighty. 10.
Okay, as your hand sort of passes over this face, it's like you see a flash, not of memory. It's almost like he's passing it on to you, and you feel his hand reach out and grab your wrist, almost to hold it, like he's making a connection. As you do this, you see that he can't move his lips, he can't speak, but you see this own energy come from this young boy's hand, almost like a blue glow, and you see flashes of a village somewhere, a very small village. You see horses sort of being cut free and running. You can see fire. You can see the devastation of where this person left. You can see people being cut down in their path as they run. You can't hear any of these memories, but you can see people yelling what people must be doing as they scream. And these huge lumbering creatures that tear through this village with their monstrous faces, too tall than what should be, that any human would be. And this huge ogre charging towards your vision, almost like you're seeing it. But as it swings, you come back for a moment. And as you pass over him, he sort of relaxes, and you just see his chest sort of calm, his breathing calm.
Is this the first time something like that's happened working here?
It's probably the first time, but you've also never had a sick mage before.
Yeah, she just sits back for a moment before snapping out of it, and she rummages through. I think she's working here. She has devised just a simple poison that just very quickly and puts them to sleep. So there's no blood, there's nothing. Yeah, and she just gets a dropper and puts it in the man's mouth.
Dasha sort of looks to you as like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah, and she's like, "Yes, this man was a mage. I guess he shared with me some memories. I've never had something like that before."
Well, if you need anything, it's probably time you ate anyway.
She stops for a moment and thinks, and probably realized that she probably hasn't really eaten much today. It's just like, I agree. Let me clean up then.
Of course. I will maybe meet you in the courtyard.
I'll see you there.
Of course. And she sort of nods, stands, nods to the Orlesian and some of the others, and backs out of the room.
Yeah. Cecilia stays with this man for a little bit longer. She'll close his eyes and make sure he's wrapped up properly. And just she'll clean up, but she before she heads out to the courtyard, she'll go back to her little office and write down what she saw in like a separate section of her book. And somewhere towards the back. But yeah. And then she'll take a breath, steel herself, and then head out to the courtyard.
Okay. Kahal and Arieva, as you did not sneak off, you sort of found yourself around this huge cooking pot, and you have had drinks pushed into your hand, and this bowl of it's almost like a stew. There is definitely vegetables and meat and some sort of gravy thrown into this. It's almost strange eating it with how warm it is in this desert, and this thick sort of chunky bread, which not stale, but it's definitely on its way, which seems to have this stew poured over it to try and just like loosen it up a bit. And you can see these other soldiers, these merchants, these other people sort of sat around this fire as this young woman comes round with these pots, these bowls that she's taken off the man cooking, and holds them out to you almost nervously as she holds them out, mainly because she sees Kahal's sword and markings and everything, but offers these bowls to both Kahal and Ariava, and with these sort of very crudely sort of carved wooden spoons. If you're hungry.
I am. I will
Starving.
round this and head to like a spot where it's not like avoiding people, but it's just kind of like a good people watching spot.
Yeah, it could be off
Wow.
to the side. It could be off to the side, like you can see distance, you can have a good
Yeah.
view. Like, Ariava, would you follow Kahal to like this wherever they've sat, or would you?
Yeah, pretty much. I think so.
Yeah.
I think she's now like they called her over. They must know her or something. they must know where to go. We must have been assigned to this group. So she's good to go and follow Kahal wherever he goes.
And you can both sit and perch with these bowls of stew that this young woman sort of hands to you. Looks fairly relieved at how eager you are to try this stew, and sort of smiles and goes and takes her own seat back down. And there look to be merchants sat around. There's a couple of guards. You see one of them sat not too far away from you. This human, this man, sort of like using the bread and scooping it up and watching both of you and eating. And he's got his mouth full, but he's just like, when did you come here? Did you come here from the south?
Does it really matter where we came from?
No. I mean, like, I was wondering, like, is it where you are or where you came from?
Yes.
Yeah. Where was that? Like, how far has it reached?
Look at Ariava, but through most of Tevinter.
Wow. I hear Orlay's safe. Apparently but then who wants to go to Orlay, you know? But I don't think it's reached there yet, but I know south of the Anderfells near. I heard someone talking about down south, they spotted the archdemon coming this way. I think that's what they're calling it. That weird thing with wings that, well...
Not a dragon.
Yeah, not a dragon.
Not a dragon.
Yeah. I mean, I came here to join the Grey Wardens. That's what I came to do. Why are you here? Yeah.
Same thing, I suppose. I just want to see more of this world. And, you know,
You better hurry up. I think it's ending.
well, maybe we can help. You never know. We all must be skilled in some way, shape, or form to be here amongst the Green Wardens, right? Right?
Yeah. No, yeah. I came from Ferelden. I brought my brother here. He's not very well, but they're gonna look after him, so it's all good. It's all good. So, and I mean, I haven't heard anything yet, so it's got to be good news, right?
Yeah, no news, good news. That's
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Ariava's going to try to hide the fact that she's a little wide-eyed when she's not making eye contact with him. Like, oh god, yeah. Dead men also tell no tales, but it's we won't go into that one.
And the guy sort of shuffles slightly closer, not anywhere close to you, but just like in more sort of listening reach. And he's like, "Did you see the griffins?" Yeah. I didn't think they actually existed.
Neither did I. I thought they were just something that had died of long ago, or like was a fairy tale, or I don't know, something to keep us cozy in bed at night.
I've heard they bite real bad though.
Well, those beaks, powerful, that's for sure.
Yeah. No, they bite. And he sort of looks down at his stew, and you can probably guess he's probably maybe wandered over and got a little bit too close to a griffin at some point. As you can see, like a bandaged hand. It doesn't look to be like a war wound. This looks like he's been bitten. But he's I mean the stew's good, you know, and like, so like, are you? And he sort of awkwardly looks over at Kel. He's like, are you like a proper warrior or something? Like the sword and everything?
I can hold my own.
I'm only asking because I've never used a sword before. I can wield a rake pretty well, but you know that's probably not going to do me a load of good. I'm hoping I can, you know, really play my part.
Ariava's going to give like a very sympathetic like pat on the shoulder at that point of like, wield a rake. Oh, like.
And it's like, well, what do you wield? As he sort of looks over at Ariava.
And she'll just hold out her hand, and a thing of flames will like.
Like, oh, and he sort of like almost sits back very, very quickly, like shields himself from this flame. He's like, you're a mage.
You know, like David Bowie in The Labyrinth, where he has the kinetic ball and that. Imagine she's kind of like doing that, but with like a fireballs. Yeah.
Yeah, you're sort of like moving your hand fluidly, and they sort of weave almost sometimes in between the fingers as you roll, almost like you're rolling it. And as this fire around, you see he's almost mesmerized as well, a little bit nervous by it, but he's like, I mean, I ain't got nothing against mages or anything like that, but like, how what's it like to do? Does it feel weird? Does it feel hot? Are you not burning yourself?
No, not really, but it just kind of tickles lightly, I guess. It's like there's like a warmth, I can feel that it's warm. But when I use ice, I can feel that it's cold.
Oh, you can do both?
The worst is lightning. That is shockingly bad to use.
And he sort of like has that curl up of his like lips, almost like half a smile. He's like, that I mean, I only ever knew one mage, but they were an healer, so I've never seen that sort of thing before.
Well, get used to it, because I'm going to be the best Grey Warden there ever was. And you can't stop me. Let's go.
I mean, I weren't gonna, but okay. Like, and he's sort of, so you're gonna be like a mage Grey Warden?
Well, hopefully. That's the goal. Kill some bad things, and mages. We're okay. We're all good, kind of thing.
You're more than good. Have you seen what you can do? There's some real cool stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong, some people can be a little bit scary, but like, I mean, I don't. And sort of like leans in. It's like, I know there's a Tevinter here, that does magic and stuff, but I don't,
Is there a Tevinter here?
Yeah, like all that blood magic and stuff like that. I don't do that. I don't like that. It's just wrong, right? I think all Tevinters do blood. I might be being real rude, but I mean, they seem fine. I'm just giving you like the forewarning with everything that's happened.
Oh yeah, I mean, it is fascinating work, but definitely totally wrong. I mean, I never do it myself, but it's always been an interesting read.
I mean, and he sort of like leans in again to both of you. They say they started it.
The Blights?
Yeah. Like, they broke, I don't even know what they call it. This is just rumors, obviously. But they literally broke the light. They opened the gates of the gods. And now we're being punished for it. What? I mean, it's true. It is true. Jerry told me. And he sort of like points over to this guy that's like looking over at him as he hears his name. I'm not lying.
I'm not saying you are. Wouldn't be surprised.
I'm just trying to take one thing in at a time right now. I'm gonna take your thing in later. Can I do that? Can I come back to you later? Will there be like some sort of way to find you, like some sort of signal above your head that says, hey, I'm here?
I mean, I stay here a lot most of the time anyway. When it gets dark, it's much nicer to huddle around all the fire and everything. And sometimes, they do play songs and tunes and stuff. Yeah.
Is that what they do?
Yeah. Like, and he's just like looking at you like really awkward. He's like, hey. And there's, yeah.
Well, maybe we'll find you around one of these.
It's the odds, Steven, run!
Go!
He just speeds away. He just leaves.
Archdemon, he just hopped on a motorbike and that's the sound a griffin makes at high speed. Griffin at high speed.
You see riding on said griffin with like sunglasses and like a leather jacket.
Someone's just like, don't mind that. That's just Steven the horse. He's always been a bit strange.
Oh, there he goes again.
He's a horse with an identity crisis from the future.
We all support him wholeheartedly.
Believe
Follow
in
your
your dreams, Stephen.
Oh, this is my mic. This is I brought along my own microphone and everything, my own setup. Screaming.
I totally assumed that you just hijacked like Kent's setup. Like,
Here's Kent's.
yeah.
But anyway, before I was so interrupted by all these animals that seem to be just gallivanting around this Grey Warden encampment. What was I saying? I'm afraid the meat has got and the journey has gotten to me.
And this guy sort of again leans forward. He's like, I mean, I know the Grey Wardens are having a meeting tonight. I don't know why, but I'm thinking about, having a bit of a nosy. Gonna go have a look.
Have a look where?
Well, at their meeting. I mean, why?
Oh.
I mean, we should know what's going on too, surely. This magic that is just radiating off Ariana.
It's like when she panics, she just starts going like, wow.
Just a pulse.
Just like a lighthouse. So you want us to sneak with you to listen in on this meeting and possibly get not just yourself in trouble, but the rest of us too.
No, you don't have to if you don't want to. I'm just saying it's happening.
Well, if you're gonna watch, might as well get a good viewpoint. Where will the meeting be?
They're up on one of the higher levels. In one of the big rooms up on the top level, by the watch outposts.
Out of character. So, whereabouts? Like, is it safe for an outside viewing, or do you have to go from the inside and sneak all the way up to the top?
It would be better to go on the inside, on the top. There are staircases and everything. It would literally just be a matter of not being seen.
Okay. Well, challenge accepted.
I mean, we've scaled a tower for 3 hours before. We can do it again.
Exactly. But yeah, she's intrigued. But when it comes to like the final stage, she wants to see if she can kind of sneak outside and listen in through the window.
Mm-hmm. Okay. We're now going to hop over to Dylan. And Dylan, I need you to make a stealth check, please, as you follow these two Grey Wardens. Yes. You managed. How do you do this? How are you casually following these Grey Wardens who seem to be talking with each other?
Exactly as you say. Casually. All of that keeping low, sticking to the shadows, that's for amateurs. I'm just walking like I own the place. If I see a loose piece of paper and a pen, I will grab it, because no one ever questions anyone who has pen and paper.
Okay, you casually sort of walk around. You can see there's lots of people just going on about their business. You can see people feeding others. You can smell that cooking pot. You leave Ariava and Kahal as they seem. It looks like someone's latched onto them and started talking to them. As you move, you can follow these Grey Wardens up a first set of stairs to almost this like a balcony sort of walkway with this stone, and you hear them talking about a place called Norbottom and how it's further south to this fortress, and there seems to be an army moving in, an army of this blight, and how no one has heard from Orzammar. No one can get hold of any of the dwarfs, The Ferelden is slowly being overrun. Minrathus has fallen. And the archdemon has been spotted around 20 miles from where you are right now. And a huge army is on the horizon of Norbotten, near one of the, there's almost like not really a fortress, but there are walled sort of cities and things like that in Norbotten, but the blight is creeping in, and they want to do something about it before it hits there. You can hear Ronan saying, if we don't stop them there, then we're the next stop.
Yes, this is exactly Dylan's face as he hears this.
And they continue to walk. And you can hear this discussion about a meeting later, up almost near the top of the roofs, and you hear about the meeting around the war table and how they must discuss what is going to happen and what they shall do next. And coming out from one of the doors, Cecilia, by your office, as you walk out, you can see there's not normally a lot of people up here. You can see 2 Grey Wardens you do know, Ronan and Taka. They don't seem to have seen you, but could you roll me a perception check, please, to see if you see Dylan?
Yeah.
Because you see him, but you don't know if he's suspicious right now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh.
my days.
You know, this is basically where your study is. You know who comes up these stairs. You know that there's not a lot up here other than one of the far reaches to head up to the war table and a few offices of the Grey Wardens, including your own. And you see, well, what does Cecilia see, Dylan? Describe yourself as you stroll up, and what do you look like?
It's difficult to assign race or gender to this character. They're very covered in jewelry, lavish clothing, a big hat that covers most of their features. But, they do have quite a handsome, pretty face, like pointed chin, reasonably high cheekbones. You can tell they mostly put most of their effort into, like, jewelry, wide open shirt, covered in leather bucklers and different things, sword at one hip, dagger at the other. And they don't look like they're suspicious. They maybe to you don't look like they belong, but they look like they're very good at looking like they belong, even if they don't belong, which you can see through.
Walking with an air of confidence.
Yeah.
And Cecilia, what does Dylan see as you step out of your office?
Does Dylan see Cecilia like as they get out of the office? So they make eye contact? Yeah.
Yeah, you can. It's probably the eye contact is locked because of how obvious you've seen him.
Yeah. You just see this very tall woman raise an eyebrow at you, and she just like locks eyes with you with these very dark eyes, and she has a naturally very stern face, very stern expression, and you can see on her back you can tell that she's a mage straight away, and you can tell that she's a Tevinter mage straight away, as she has the typical fashion of Tevinter, and on her back is this large staff that has the top of it features 2 wings curled around each other, and you can just see a faint glow between like the detailing of the feathers of like a purple energy. And she just raises a brow at you and says, "Do you have business here?"
I like to think that I have business everywhere.
And she's gonna step up to you, just kind of give you a little look up and down. It's like, "You're dressed rather glamorously for a warden."
I am not a warden.
Then you have no business here.
Well, that you say, but I am Dylan Ezekrian. I am a great merchant from all sorts of places. And by great, I mean I have a large trade, rather than perhaps grandeur. And I am here, of course, to provide aid to the Wardens in whatever way I can. Although I must admit, I am much more used to seafaring than the desert.
That brow remains raised, and she's gonna turn and look to Ronan. She's like,
Ronan sort of like he's walking away, like he hasn't actually seen this encounter because of Dylan.
yeah,
But you can definitely bring it to his attention.
Yeah. Ronan, may I ask, have we arranged deals with this merchant?
I'm sorry. Oh, friend. What are you doing up here?
You know, I was just wandering the encampment and I found myself here. It's a wonder.
And he sort of looks at you. Again, very much like Cecilia raises an eyebrow. You wear a dashing smile, friend, but why are you really up here?
A person cannot simply wander. I'm curious to find all of the. I mentioned to you my previous trade. I'm curious to find all of the little nooks and crannies in this fortress, the ways in and out that perhaps people may not be otherwise guarding. Of course.
And he sort of, I assure you, this fortress is solid.
They always do.
It is. I checked it myself.
Cecilia's just like staring at Dylan, like up and down, trying to get not glaring, but just trying to get like a feel for them.
A wager then, my friend. I will have a little look around the fortress and let's put, say, 5 gold on it that I find somewhere or something that can be exploited to get in and out of the fortress without you knowing.
You believe I have 5 gold to spare?
You have the 5 gold to spare, perhaps it can go towards the war effort.
Dylan, this is one of our wardens, Cecilia.
She holds her hand out.
I take it and
Pleasure.
bow over it, glamorously.
The brow raises again.
The pleasure
No
is
need for
mine.
such formalities.
Oh, but
Dylan,
always.
was it?
Dylan, yes, Dylan Ezekrian. Some have heard of me.
I have
I was
not.
in-
Cecilia Amladaris.
I have not heard of you either. I was in Winter recently, though. I was there when it burned. I'm sorry about that.
As was I.
Yes, it,
Well done for making it out.
I rammed an ogre with a ship. It was very good.
You do see his smile just quirk up just a little bit. It's like impressive.
I thought so.
Could use someone with your zeal on the Wardens.
You would make a good warden. Especially with your skills in analyzing fortresses and their weaknesses.
I feel like I've talked myself into this one somehow.
You're very confident in your abilities. We need someone like that.
The more the merrier, as they say.
Do you know my flagon is empty? No, it's true. The Wardens are a shambles without me. Perhaps I should do something to help you out, but I hate to work for charity, you know.
And you can see, you hear like a laugh from Taka, this tall female warden who's sort of like now leaning against one of the walls, just like, again, very much like has a massive like broadsword attached to their back. And you can see her look to Ronan, she's like, I like him. I like him.
She gets it.
Yeah, you might last longer.
Oh, you're just like them.
And she sort of smiles and sort of she comes over and gives you a big hearty like slap on the back, and like you feel like the force behind this slap, and you guess it's not on purpose. Maybe she's more used to just being heavy-handed lately.
Yeah, Dylan definitely sort of like maybe winces, maybe even does a little bit of a cry out, and his shirt is white, and you might see blood appear because he definitely has a knife down his back, like, like.
Would you like some help with that?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Cecilia is also one of our best healers.
Oh, well, wonderful. Good.
Perhaps you should, didn't you come with other people? Like, as Tucker looks at Dylan. You
Yes.
came with a friend, a mercenary, isn't that what you said?
Yes, Kahal, mercenary, the mercenary to my merchant, but, you know, they seem to like eating. I've never been a big fan, more of a necessity thing for me, you know.
It's a real necessity right now. You're gonna need your energy. Well, and sort of looks at Cecilia, actually, I think you would do good talking with these people. They're from Ferelden. And also from Tevinter, they were there at the attack. There is also another elf that Antaka sort of smiles. I brought him via Griffin. They seem to enjoy it very, very much. They too came from Ferelden.
Dasha mentioned such a person.
Of course, Dasha digs. Dasha knows everything before anyone else does. And it's sort of like you can see not an eye roll, but like you know this is a standard thing. She's much younger. Anyway, you yourself should eat, and it wouldn't do you too bad to chat with people rather than keeping yourself cooped up in that office of yours. Not that we don't appreciate the work.
I'm willing to chat if they are.
And they look over at Dylan. He seems pretty chatty.
That he does. Can't guarantee I'll be the best company, but we'll see what I can do.
Perfect. Then we'll see you for the meeting later. I'll send Dasha to collect you. She probably knows the time before I do. And starts to walk away. I'm going to take a real quick bio. So
No worries.
Second.
No, you see, Cecilia, I find that my skills with my tongue increase tenfold once I have had a drink to sort of lubricate the works. Perhaps we could get some alcohol in you and see how you do then.
I'm not really one for drinking, but I would like to meet the company that you've decided to keep.
Of course. I suppose they are also being caught up in this Warden fever going around. There'll be, How do you join?
An oath. We're working on more elaborate measures, but mainly just taking an oath at the moment.
Oh, that doesn't sound so bad.
Just kind of looks at Dylan. Whatever. It's like, you say that you rammed an ogre with your boat. Does that mean that you were on the way out of Tevinter as it was happening?
Yes, very much so. I happened to be fleeing the city before the army struck, which was very convenient.
Very. Trust you to see the army, but have you seen the aftermath? Perhaps this might sway your decision.
The aftermath? No, I just saw the blaze from behind, which the army did. To be clear.
It's more than just an army. Mind if I ask for your company for just a moment, and then we can get this drink?
So soon, of course.
She will lead. I'll probably maybe wait for Alice for this one, but she's going to start leading Dylan to the infirmary once Alice gets back. But we can continue to converse as we go.
So, how long have you been here and not in the winter?
The Wardens found me almost as soon as the light struck. I was in the city when it occurred. fortunately, and it was very lucky. A lot of these people here are here because of luck.
Oh, that is
And
lucky.
leading Dylan to the infirmary.
What did you do?
I'm trying to sway his decision regarding the Wardens.
Okay.
He hasn't seen the aftermath regarding flight yet.
Okay, so you can lead him.
We were just
down
chatting for a bit.
You can lead him down to the infirmary, and Dylan, you all met with this sight. This sight of all these people on pallets and this strange look on some of their faces. These very distant looks. It's not great.
Just kind of looks to Dylan. It's like the blight is more than just an army. A disease follows in its wake. This is the result. You say you're a trader, yes, a merchant?
Of sorts. You need
Well,
elf fruit?
as the world. No, but not at the moment. But yes, as the world crumbles, as does its trade.
Chaos makes for speedy bargaining. The ladder of anyway. I mean, I see what you're saying. This looks truly horrific. But what do you need?
No, I just wanted to show you. There's a number of people who aren't quite aware of they see an army and see it at its face value, but they don't quite realize how deep this particular plague runs.
Doesn't look. I mean, what even happened to that fellow?
Just in the mere presence of this army.
Ugh.
She'll lead him back out. Just by all means, you are free to come back here if you wish. Let it sink in. But when people say that it's
Glassware, that must be what you want, right? Flasks, alembics, that sort of thing. Come on, healers always want flasks and alembics and that sort of thing. I don't have any at the moment, but I can get you some.
while I am very appreciative of the offer, I did not come here unprepared. Yeah, she'll walk him back out to the tavern, like whatnot.
You can walk out into the courtyard, and Dylan, you can see Kahal and Ariava sort of sat there. There's this young man talking to them. Sort of just looks awkward. He looks awkward.
Yeah, as Cecilia steps out, you can just see her just stiffen up a little bit, but nothing too drastic.
And,
so where is this company of yours?
The two elves over there. Okay. Going to level with you really quickly. At least one of them might not be on best terms with the Winter. There is a reason we were fleeing to Winter, and it might have had something to do with, questionable morals, people doing things that, they probably shouldn't. One mage died. It was, I don't know how. And saw him floating in the river. Then some guards too. I just wondering what your personal thing is. There won't be any problems or anything like that. Maybe also prepare you a little bit because the one with the big sword. That's the he knows how to use it.
I am keenly aware of the reputation Tevinter has earned itself. Don't worry about that. I'm happy to be amiable if they are. I'm gonna look over Kahal. I actually think I think Cecilia might actually recognize Kahal just a little bit. Definitely not by a name, but considering Cecilia's status, definitely watched a few gladiator matches that they were in. And she looks over and just looks over at Kahal just at a distance, like, well, you have a good warrior at your side, that's for sure.
They are quite good, yes, but not very subtle.
Just kind of eyes off the sword. It's like, they did not strike me as a type.
No.
Shall we go to say hello?
By all means, yes. Would you like? I can introduce you if you wish. Cecilia Amladaris, right? Amladaris.
Cecilia's fine.
Cecilia is fine. Told me Amladaris before, and I'm fine.
No, just Cecilia, please. Just. You can see her like getting visibly weary, but there is like just like the faintest hint of a smile. Like you don't know if it's like tired or if it's actually amused, but it's there.
Okay. Hello, Kahal. Do not draw your sword. This is a friend. Ariava also. So this is Cecilia.
A pleasure.
And I really
Understand.
feel ya. You should get to know each other.
She just turns and looks at you
I am here all week.
and makes a mental note to not heal you when you need it.
You mean you want a healia?
I'm gonna kill you. Out of character. I'm on my way.
In character, out of character.
The character, you're going to die.
I really feel
Cecilia
ya.
needs
You
to
should.
heal ya.
Oh my god.
Oh god, Alice, is it too late to rename my character?
I mean,
You'll find more.
And, she'll come up to
Beautiful.
the table, and she has her hands behind her back, and Dylan would be able to see her fidget for a second before Cecilia holds a hand out to Ariaba first. Cecilia.
Ariava. Pleasure.
Pleasure. And then she holds her hand out to Kahal and just watches and waits.
It's just like as soon as you came up, has just been like eyeing you with this like wariness, but not a fear, but just a like, and just looks very pointedly at your hand and does not say a thing.
Yeah, after it becomes clear that Kahal is not about to respond, Cecilia will return to her posture, hands behind her back. Like, I was given word that you, looks at Ariaba, were in Ferelden, and the two of you were in Tevinter when the blight hit.
Guilty.
If there's not too much to ask, I would like to ask you about that whenever you feel ready. See, I'm doing a lot of research regarding the blight and aiding the Wardens for a cure, for a way to fight back, anything that will give us an edge.
And you're pure Grey Warden, right? You won't be like sending us anywhere else from, depending on how we answer these questions.
I don't believe so. I'm not really high up enough for the authority for that. That kind of thing really goes to Ronan.
So you just need to hear the answers, and that's it.
Yes, hear the answers, take notes. Just watches as he says Ariama sorts herself out.
Yeah. And Aria was just going to go quiet with thought at that point and just like follow along with whatever happens now. You could all end up saying like, all right, so we're all going to just go take a nap, or we're all going to go like to the showers, and she would just mindlessly follow at this point.
She'll look at like an empty seat, like, may I sit?
Yes, please do.
Yeah, she'll take a seat.
Are there seats all around?
Yeah, this is a very casual sort of thing. There's a mixture of chairs. Some people are sat on crates. Some are sat on the floor. Some are sat. It's not like a real tavern. You can see people are trying to make it that, and you can also see that it's almost like there's a stew pot in the center as well.
Okay, I think Ariava will go up and like grab a drink first before she settles down in the tavern.
Yeah, you see this very broad woman behind the bar. It's just like, You
No.
right? Like, you want another?
Oh, yes, please. That would be amazing.
And she starts she walks over to one of the barrels where one of the taps are and starts pouring out this very frothy beer. And you can smell, it's like a golden ale, very, very hoppy. And she sort of hands it over. Enjoy, love. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And Ariama immediately starts going to a coin purse, remembering like, oh shit, everything costs money now here.
It's fine. This is for those at YSAP. You don't actually need to pay here.
Right. I knew that. Just wanted to check it was still here, you know. Can't trust them Grey Warden pickpockets.
And she sort of squints at you, and looks like, do you mean people who pick the pockets of Grey Wardens, or Grey Wardens that pickpocket?
Both are a dangerous thought.
Why not both?
She laughs. She laughs.
And at this point, you see that Ariava is kind of frozen on what to say now. So she starts kind of looking around, almost helplessly looking for someone to save her. As she just helplessly goes,
You can go back to your seat.
uh,
You're good.
So tempting to use this as cover to pick the person's pocket.
I warn you, she has a ladle.
I mean, I wouldn't. Obviously, we're in the open and stuff, but it's just a tempting concept.
Oh god. Big rogue mood.
God damn it, Jack, dream of me. God damn it.
Yeah, as Cecilia is sitting with Kahal and Dylan, you couldn't tell just by looking at her face, but fuck, she is awkward right now. She hasn't really said much, but she has such a naturally stern expression that it looks like she's just got glaring holes into people.
I think Dylan would have fetched wine.
There is
So it's just Kahal and Cecilia?
He wouldn't be long, though, because he realizes the tension of this situation. But
one of them is going to kill the other.
Yeah.
a nice little bit of spiced wine will just warm everyone's senses. Everyone will warm up to each other, I'm sure. So we all now have wine.
If you insist. And she'll have this, look over this glass of wine, or this mug of wine. And just take a...
Where did you get that from? What is that?
I'm just staring at Dylan like, I know what you're doing.
Is this
Really
Antivan? Reminds me of home for some reason.
Cecilia will sip at her wine, just very, very quietly.
And it is awkward. Like
so
it's
awkward.
so British awkward. Like it is. You all sit there almost in silence. You can see Ariava backing away.
We don't know because Dylan's trying to make it better and he's making it worse. So we're on from Antiva. Maybe we have stories we can share.
Eventually, I'll just like sighs like with this soul deep question. It's just like, you said you had questions.
Yeah, she nods and straightens herself up a bit, even though she was already sitting quite straight. So I would like to inquire about what you saw in Winter. At the time of the Blight. And in Ferelden.
Will straighten up.
He has a note, like, Cecilia gets a small notebook out.
Seemed as though they burst out of the ground.
That rings true for a lot of the stories I've heard. Anything else?
Ogre was big and ugly.
Yes, that also rings true. Did you Were you close to any of them? Did you see anything? Any behavior? I'm at a loss.
They're not mindless.
You were closer to them than me, right, Kahal? I was like trying to sail and catch you and things.
Sort of. One that I was closest to, I suppose. I mean, they have some manner of tactics. I don't know if that's learned or just ingrained in them as they are created. They know how to fight, even if it's with very little self-regard.
I'll say. They're certainly clever enough to form these armies, and from what we've seen of them, they have some kind of ranking to them. Yeah, she just like rubs the bridge of her nose, because I think this is probably all information that she's heard before. And she'll look to Ariaba, like, and you? What did you see?
I saw these creatures. Hard to describe. It's more of a feeling than anything that you can truly visually create. But I don't know, they were these oozing spawns of just darkness.
Yeah. She just nods, and I think at this point, she's just kind of realized that she's not really going to get anything that isn't what she's heard probably countless times before from various people who have come in, and she just closes the book, just leans back in a chair with this wine. It's like, well, thank you very much. And you can tell she almost looks defeated. It's like, I'm not sure if anyone has explained my presence here, but essentially I've been working with the Wardens and working with elements of the Darkspawn in order to find anything that could give us an edge in this fight, whether it be a cure for this taint that they spread, or some kind of, whether it be an immunity or just a knowledge of how they work. And I'm getting nothing. There's a piece missing and I don't know what it is. So until we can crack that, all we can do is put those that have been touched by the blight at ease before their final moments. I don't think people are exaggerating when they say it's the end of the world.
If this archdemon, as they're calling it, commands them, how does it speak to them? They have no language.
I've had theories. I do believe that the archdemon is in charge of it all, but as for how these armies are commanded, it's completely lost. Perhaps it's some kind of ingrained magic. Perhaps it's something more sinister. I couldn't say.
Do we know how this all started?
She stops at that.
Because if we know how it started, surely we could just go and, like, stop that from starting anymore.
It's not that simple. It's been done. There's no one doing it.
That sounds very, no. Like you know something that we don't, maybe?
I know a lot of things that you don't. I'm part of the Wardens. Let's just say that there's some information that stays privy to them. We don't want to spread a panic.
Of course, of course. Alice, I want to go on a stealth mission later.
I know you because that is just you.
That's very, yeah. Yeah. Just kind of sits there and sips the wine again. It's like, well, thank you for your time, at the very least. And she'll look to Kahal quite seriously. It's like, and I'm sorry. Not all Travinters condone what happened. That's just in general. I'm aware of what you've been through. I've seen your fights. The Grey Wardens could use someone like you. Couldn't hear that.
Muted?
I'm sure they could.
Yeah. Kind of nods.
And
Kind of looks over to Jill. It's like, perhaps it would be best if I were to leave.
I'm at an impasse. I do not want to say yes, you should leave, but at the same time, it is pretty awkward.
Out of character, that's me laughing. So you're saying, Alice?
it is getting a tiny bit cooler as the sun slowly starts to set. It's not dark, but you can see people starting to light torches and lanterns as they move around this fortress. You can see children being ushered to bed, and you can see Dasher sort of looking and then finally spotting you, sort of almost hopping over towards you. And the rest of you see this Grey Warden, much shorter than the others, very sort of nimble looking, these two daggers at her side, this short sort of blonde hair tied up into two plaits that go around her head. And she's like, good evening. I see you found my friend. And she looks down at Celia. It's like, hi, I am Dasha. And she holds out a hand. First of all to Ariava. It's like, hello. You must be one of the other mages they were talking about. I've been told about your little fire thing. It's pretty cool. My cat is going mental in the background.
You're age 2?
Oh, no, I just find it fascinating. I do the whole stabby scout for things kind of stuff.
Can't go wrong with a good stabby scout.
Exactly, that's what I say. I mean,
The good old triple S. The SSS.
I've never called it that before, but I get it.
Yeah, I'm with you. Stick to it.
I will. She's like, yes, I will. And she looks over to Kahal. It's like, and you are the gladiator, the one that they're talking about with the the big sword, the one who looks like they can really take a fight.
It's getting around. But yes, go on.
No, be careful, because some of them might want to fight you, test their strength and something like that. But
I could certainly try.
okay, right, okay, you're one of those people. And you are, and looks over towards Dylan. You are the fancy one.
Hey, if that is how I am becoming known, I do not mind that at all. Yes, I'm very fancy. No other skills.
Oh no, I spot a fellow Antivan when I see one.
There's a fine line often between fancy and tacky.
I like Dasha looks over at Dylan.
Cecilia's brow raises, but like impressed, like vaguely. At this
Ariava starting to kind of turn to Dylan and go like, "Sorry, it was too easy, too easy."
I've been told that before.
So
Yes.
amused to see Dylan, like, kind of out of his element for once. I'm just like...
So Antiva.
Well, we like in Antivan, we like nice things. I mean, I like nice things. Just because I wear a uniform does not mean I gave up my Antivan ways.
Are those boots part of the uniform?
No, these are mine.
Oh.
I
Good.
prefer good-looking, comfy boots. Antivan leather is some of the best out there, so why not make the best use of them?
Has Antiva been hit as well by all of this blight stuff?
I hope not. I have not heard of Antiva falling to any of this blight, but it is definitely on the way. In fact, it is something I was coming to fetch all of you about. If we could go and talk about it privately, I believe the other wardens would like to see you, all of you.
Oh,
Yes, you seem to be a very talented mage. And you have expressed interest in becoming a warden. It was the griffin, wasn't it? It's always the griffin.
I mean, they had me at no longer be in the situation that I am in. Really, that was the great start. Great start. Griffin is just like cherry on top of everything.
They are pretty cool. I myself have my griffin, and would you chill? My god, get off my notebooks. Thank you.
Young griffins are very rambunctious.
Yes, this is what it is. And
Oh, great word as well. Rambunctious. Oh.
Rambunctious.
I remember when I first flew on a griffin. It was one of the best moments of my life. If you join, imagine when you have your own griffin to partner you, it is something quite wonderful, and it's unlike anything else. It really is.
Freedom. Go anywhere you want.
And we do have some duties we've got to perform, but yes, technically, yes, you can. You can go wherever you want.
Sounds so different from my ship.
True.
You have a ship?
A very fine ship.
How fine is a fine ship, though?
Heavily gilded. Gold on all the rails. Pearls on the main wheel.
That fine line you talk about.
Yeah, I'm sticking to it right now.
Purple satin sails.
Okay, I will give you the purple satin sails, but that's it.
And unfortunately, there's only so much you can do with a ram head, though. My figurehead is pretty much just a big spike.
From what I've heard, it works rather well.
Well, I'm pretty good at using my big spike.
There's just a...
Very precise. Surprisingly precise.
There's a tired sigh, very reminiscent of Kahal.
I think he shares it at that point.
Kahal was there. Kahal helped.
I watched.
Just like...
I mean, this is not very fun, but I got sidetracked. I get sidetracked often, as Cecilia may know. I tend to wrap it on quite a bit, but we should probably go. There's a meeting up the top, and Ronan asked me to come get all of you.
Everybody.
Everybody. Including
Trying to
everybody.
win his bet by occupying my evening time. I see how it is.
I hear
That's
you
recall.
you specialize in scoping out fortresses and castles for weak spots.
No, not for weak spots. I am a simple merchant smuggler.
Smuggler.
Trade points are always useful. Especially ones off the books.
I mean, I'm not shaming anyone. I was a smuggler before I joined. It's very handy.
I find this very lucrative.
Shall we not keep Ronan waiting?
Oh no, I can't be in his bad books again. We should really go.
Well,
And
Cecilia stands.
this Warden Dasher starts like making moves towards the steps.
Cecilia stands, wine, barely, not even half drunk. Like,
Please
shall
follow
we
me.
go?
And she starts to lead you up these stone stairs, and you can see people lighting the way as it comes. You walk up these stairs, you walk past Cecilia's office, and you go higher and higher until you head up to some of the top levels of this fortress, until you reach almost like it's like a roof, but it's very, very flat. You see these huge towers, the tops of these spikes. The spires sort of stand incredibly at the top of this fortress as you reach the battlements, and over on one side where you can see Dasher starting to walk towards, you see a huge table with lots of papers on it. You can see these wardens crowded around. You see two griffins, sort of one perched on one of the battlements, the other seems to be settled over in the corner. One of them they seem to be settled, but also watching very intensely. And they watch you all come up the stairs, and you can see this view over the desert, over the Broken Tooth, this ridge, this edge that you are on as you look out into this absolute wasteland. And it's just sand and cliff faces for as far as the eye can see. And Dasher is walking towards this table. Do you follow?
Yeah, I think Cecilia stopped by her office briefly just to get her notes and such, just in case. But aside from that, yeah, she's.
You can approach the table. There seems to be it's mainly wardens. There looks to be about 11 wardens, all in armor and uniform, sort of around and talking. You can see the Orlesian mage, Cecilia, sort of also around the table, and two others that aren't in any uniform, but are definitely around the table. As Dasher sort of heads up, I got them. See, I told you I wasn't that long. Can I go and scout out again now? Because I said I need to go and switch over the watch, otherwise, he's gonna get mad. And she starts like yabbering, and you see Ronan smile and just go, Dasher, just go and do your thing. And she's like, thank you. And she sort of starts like disappearing off across one of the battlements towards this griffin, which you see her climb onto on this saddle and almost just drop off the edge of these battlements. And it's only when you see the wings spread and emerge up the other side as she drifts off into the distance. And Ronan approaches all of you. Friends, we find ourselves in need of your aid. Please approach the table. Cecilia, your studies have been vital to everything here, and we appreciate you greatly, especially with any information you brought from Tevinter. Ariava, I have heard you are a worthy mage that, in the face of it all, saved a life, many lives. You still, whatever happened in Ferelden, my friend speaks very highly of you, and you see that female warden nod her head and smile towards you. We do not have enough mages on our side, or in the wardens. No offense, Cecilia. And sort of like gives a smile. We could use more like you. And Kahal, and Dylan.
Oh, included in this. Okay.
You're a smuggler.
Yes.
Smugglers have their uses. Dasher, he sort of like gestures over to this griffin that is now disappearing onto the horizon. Smuggler herself, a scout, gets both the information and aids we need to help the cause. And Kahal, you have a strong sword arm. Even if you do not decide to all be wardens just yet, we need your aid. There is an army. The Blight is approaching from the south. And we have a plan. And we're going to need your help as a distraction. We have heard the Archdemon has approached Norbotten, and it is destroying all of the surrounding villages, towns, you name it. We need to get as many people out as possible, but we also need to provide a distraction so that we, Grey Wardens, and the soldiers in our army can take out this creature. And we need all the help we can get. We can take to the skies and fight it in the air, but we need people to fight it on the ground. We need people to get the innocents out. Whether it's via smuggling, hand-to-hand combat. And Cecilia, there is another mage among us now. Ariava, a different mage, I believe.
Use the variety of skills, as we know that my spells don't really do well in combat.
Well, looks like between us we make one really kick-ass mage, because I do the combat thing, you do the healy mixy thingy.
Yes, quite. I look forward to working with you.
We believe if the Archdemon falls, the Blight will fall. It seems to lead them, connect with them. We Grey Wardens are still new. We wear a uniform, but we try to understand as much of this as possible, but we do not know what this enemy is. It is... We cannot let this end Thedas. And tomorrow, we plan on setting towards Norbotten. And we want you to come with us. We can give you everything you need. And the army will follow behind. We have men heading towards... Dylan, you don't look happy about this.
Going ahead of the army, usually I'm more of a sort of goer behind the army and collect the useful things which are no longer useful. Them.
Look so dashing out in front.
That's another thing as well. I'm not wearing a stupid uniform.
You're not a warden yet. If you choose to be one, then wear the uniform, if you so wish. It is the cause we need you to fight for.
Look, I will help. I'm just saying your uniform stinks.
Tilly just kind of looks at herself and is like, you're allowed to take some liberties with it.
Is this a yes?
I think you found your apprentices.
Ronan smiles. You will each travel with a warden. Cecilia, I know you haven't chosen a griffin yet. If you wish to choose one at all, you choose each other. So you will each ride with one of us. At the moment, speed is of the essence, and we're running out of time. So this evening, prepare yourselves, fill your bellies, and we will have everything ready to leave at dawn.
Is there anything else that needed to be addressed?
And there is a pause, and they look amongst themselves. Not yet. And there's another pause. We're trying to discover what the full enemy really is. And they sort of look towards you on this, Cecilia. And you get the feeling it's not because you're Tevinter. And Ronan gives you a nod. Please, all of you, go rest. Do what you have to do.
Put it
Yeah.
there.
Celia will just take out her notebook and just put it on the table in front of them. It's just like, there is some new information, but not much. And
Everything you do for us, we are grateful for.
I'm afraid I'm hitting a bit of a wall. Hopefully this battle tomorrow will bring forth some new information.
We will learn more about our enemy. It's the only way we defeat them, knowledge, as well as blades. And sort of quickly looks over to Ariava, and fire.
And bots.
And boats. And there's a smile as you see sort of that sunset over the horizon. You see griffins sort of circle the fortress at night. Only 3 or 4, you can guess they're watchers keeping an eye out. And you feel an unrest at the fortress this evening. There aren't any songs tonight, but there is warm fire, there is food, but there is a definite hush over the people. And somewhere in the distance, there is something else with wings that looms just on the horizon. And we'll leave Dragon Age there this week.
We're all together.
I was gonna say the group's finally together.
Yay! Love it. Love all that engaging conversation that we had, and sitting in awkward silence with the Tevinter and the 3 elves. Love that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely the same. That was amazing. Thank you so much, Alice.
Yeah.
Needed a calm session, I think, before things.
Or some shit goes down.
Well, we do have credits to outro with, so all I'll say is please check out the closing messages as they go flying up in the chat now. Includes all the places that you can find us, talk to us, and communicate with us in our community, and support us if you wish to. The second link is the Discord, where we'll go to talk about this campaign briefly. I'm probably going to go sleep in a second because I'm switching over to UK time. But, you know, there might be talkings going on. Also, check out our sponsors, Mage Hand Press and Bird in the Storm Publishing, who we're very grateful to because they make this all happen. Yes, we do have credits. We'll be back next week with more Rise of the Wardens, and we return on Monday with more streams then also. Thank you very much, everyone. We are going to go on a raid. Our raid cry is the stealthy, stabby scout. There it is. Yeah. Get that queued up. Join us on the raid cry. Let's go and make someone's evening. And thank you very much for watching, everyone. We'll see you later on. Keep on invoking emotions. Bye.
Bye.